Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SmaulTalk podcast, where we'll be talking about movies, TV shows, games, YouTube, whatever else we want to talk about. My name is TheShelfman, or it could be Jordi if you somehow care about my real name, and I'm here with Saul.
Hello, everyone. I'm Saul. Games by Saul. Whatever you want to call me is fine, as long as it's correct. And welcome to the podcast.
I'm very excited about doing this.
Same. It should be fun.
We've talked about movies and TV shows quite a lot already before, and we always just keep going for hours and hours on end. And I thought, hey, this is a great way to get that going.
For sure. I mean, it always ends up, we talk about one thing and then it leads to a tangent about another film, which then probably mentions another film or TV show or even a game, and then that just leads to more tangents upon tangents.
Exactly. And the best way to deal with tangents is a podcast.
Exactly.
All right.
I think that's what I've learned.
So we had the idea to talk about our favorite films. However, you recently posted on Twitter about having seen Fleabag, and I could not resist. So
no, I'm glad.
Let's talk about Fleabag for a bit.
That's absolutely fine. Fleabag is a very, very, very good show.
It really is. Wait, before I forget, we talked about this before. There will be spoilers in this podcast. Yes. Whatever we know about a film or TV show, we will talk about it. So, yeah, spoilers.
Be prepared. You will be spoiled if you haven't seen Fleabag, and if you haven't seen Fleabag, go watch Fleabag. There's 2 seasons, it's 6 episodes each season, about 25 minutes an episode. Yeah. You'll be done within a day.
Exactly. You'll go through it so quick you won't even notice. And it is brilliant. More. Yeah.
You'll want more.
You'll want so much more.
You will.
I don't think they'll make another season. I think the actress, I think it's Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I think that's her name. She didn't even want to make a season 2. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that. I definitely saw she does not want to do a season 3.
Yeah, because the reason she wanted to stop after season 2, especially, is because you had all the interactions between the camera and Fleabag that you could have. So she was like, okay, it's over now. Of course, I would love more because she's brilliant and it's funny. But I totally get why it stopped.
Yeah, it wouldn't really work after season 2 now because she's done with the camera.
There was this. It's like a breakup scene in a way.
Yeah, because it's like a double breakup scene. It is a double breakup scene because she breaks up with the priest, and then as she walks away from the camera, usually the camera follows her, but it didn't for that one scene. Kind of saying she's done with the camera, but that's all. But if they were to do more and she didn't have the camera, it just wouldn't.
It wouldn't be the same. Exactly. There would be no point because that was the whole thing that made it so original and so fun. We knew things that others didn't,
and it's kind of the reason we know her life and her story is because she's telling it to the camera. So if she wasn't with the camera, it wouldn't really. Why do we know? Why are we following her story? It doesn't really hit the same because we don't. There's no scenes where it's other characters. I think Fleabag is in every single scene. I don't think there's a scene without Fleabag in it, or at least someone who's connected to Fleabag. She is always there.
I think so too. Oh, that's a good point.
I don't think there's ever a scene where she's even if she's not on the screen, she's not far away from it. She's always around.
Right.
Which I think is really interesting because it is literally her telling what's happening to someone, and that someone is us.
And that's so brilliant. We're a character in a series in a way. And there's shows that do that, and movies do, fourth wall breaking, but never in the way that Fleabag did. And it's so good.
Well, fourth wall breaking is interesting. Because obviously there's the one that comes to mind first is Deadpool does it. But it's not really the same because it's not a core part of the film. It's just something that Deadpool does. But
yeah. I mean,
Fleabag's built around the wall breaking, really.
Exactly. It's just Deadpool's self-aware, whereas Fleabag is Fleabag.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I was looking up after because I'm nosy into stuff. I kind of realized halfway through season 2, near the start of that, she's not talking to us. I realized who she was talking to this whole time, and it kind of blew my mind a bit because I was oh, we're not with her. She's I was gonna say spoilers again, but we've already said spoilers. Like from what I think she's talking to her friend who's died. Boo, I think her name is.
Oh right.
I think she's been talking to her this whole time. Like she feels like Boo is watching her throughout the thing, and she's like telling her. Like when I listen to her speak to the camera, it sounds like she's talking to a friend, and like the kind of stuff she does to the camera would be like you see someone there and you're doing it to them.
True. Oh, that's a good point. I have not thought about it that way.
It might not be right, but I was just like watching it, I was like,
there's so many layers to it. It could be true. And it's so brilliant. Her performance, first of all, is great. You feel all the emotions when there are, emotions.
Well, for sure. Like when she does something with like a sister, like I was kind of, whenever she was about to like not tell her sister the truth, or like when she wouldn't tell her sister the truth, I was like, please, just tell her the truth, please.
Yeah, it's really good. I watched it last year, I think, and it went by real fast, and I probably will watch it again.
I think I will too. I mean, I watched it, today is Friday, and I finished it on Wednesday, and I started it on Monday.
Wow.
So I watched it very quickly.
You did binge it. Oh, wow.
I really did. I think, actually, no, I started it on Sunday, actually, but I did have one day off in between watching it. And it was just, it's one of those shows that when you start, it kind of ends in a way where you always will want more because of, like, I think the end of season 1, the twist is that really Fleabag got her friend killed by sleeping with her friend's boyfriend. And I remember when that happened, I literally jumped out of my seat because I was so shocked that happened. And I was just,
feel you there. Yeah.
I was not expecting it. I was like, that is amazing.
It blew my mind. I think I jumped out of my seat too. It was crazy. And then the first episode of season 2, the whole thing in the restaurant is brilliant. It's so good. When it opens with that first shot and you're like, what happened here? And then the whole thing rewinds. It's so good.
I love how she tells to the camera or whoever at that point, she goes, this is a love story. And you're like, ooh, okay. And then when she punches Martin, that was just
yeah, it's great stuff. And the whole thing with the priest realizing that she's talking to the camera.
The priest, that's so insane. Like the reason I watched Fleabag was because I saw a clip of that on TikTok, and I was just like, "What is this?" So I googled it more. I was like, "Fleabag." I was like, "Okay," and then I saw more clips on TikTok, and I was like, "Okay, this looks really fun, actually." And then, like, even though I had already seen that the priest knows, like, when you get the first instance when he goes, like, "What was that?" and he like looks at the camera, it's still like, ooh, it's so weird. Like he knows.
It kind of takes you out of it. It makes you realize what is happening. Whereas usually it's just like, okay, she's talking to us, she's explaining her point of view, and suddenly there's this other person aware of that happening, and it's just like, what?
That's what I mean. It's like we feel like we're being watched in a case because it's rather than like we're talking to someone, it's more so we're talking to someone and someone's literally like just staring at both of us having this conversation, and it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool. Like when I think in one of the scenes she says he has a lovely neck, and he mentions the fact that she said that, and it's not just the fact he knows she's like. I think that's cool because it's not like just the fact like she kind of looks distant or something, like she's just not all there. She's like looking away. She's literally looking away and saying something out loud, and he picks up on the fact she said something, and it's like, ooh, okay.
It's crazy. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, I'm definitely watching that again. I think I will blame you for that.
That's fine. I'll take all the blame. I was trying to get my girlfriend to watch it, and she just didn't really want to. And then when I finished it, I said, "You're gonna watch it. Like, watch. It's so good." And she said, "Would you watch it again?" I was like, "Yes." She's like, "You've just finished it?" I said, "Yes. I will watch it again."
It's that good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I hope she likes it though. Yeah. I mean,
I hope
probably
you enjoyed
right.
the second time. I don't know how you can't not like it. It's just got a bit of everything in it, which just makes it really good. Like something I really loved was some of the characters you don't find out their names. So if you were like, because I watched it on Amazon Video and it said like character name is just something they've been referred to as in the show.
Yeah, that's great. It's really good.
I think it's really funny. Like rather than I think someone was just called Arsehole Guy. And that was his name in like the casting. That was everything. His name. We never find out his name, and
exactly.
Really funny.
The same with Fleabag. We don't know more about her other than her name is Fleabag.
Oh, but no one ever calls her Fleabag as well, do they?
No, they never call her by name. So even the actress calls her Fleabag.
That's not her name.
No, of course. But we just don't know. And that's great. I love that.
I never even picked up on the fact like no one says her name. Like her name to me is just Fleabag, but that's definitely not her name.
Yeah. I think that's a great way of showing that in real life we also don't call each other by name a lot. And when you can write an entire show without a person's name being revealed when they are the main character, that's brilliant.
I mean, yeah, like you said just then about like in real life, we don't call each other by names. Like I find it very weird if I'm like with a friend and they say my name. I'm just like, you don't ever say that. Why have you said
exactly? My name? Unless you're in like a group and they specifically need you. Otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah, but like most people when they talk to each other, I think sometimes even in a group, you kind of just look at the person you're talking to, and you kind of have that knowledge of like, I'm talking specifically to you, and it's just kind of like, that's really I mean, there's even characters like an old man who talks a lot, and even he has a name. He's called like Talkie Joe, and that's it. That's his name. He has a name.
Yeah.
Joe.
But
but the main character not having a name is something I didn't even clock onto. Oh, that's. Oops! I just ripped my headphone out my head.
Yeah, that's great. Now I recently started rewatching Scrubs for the 4th time.
Nice.
I'm addicted to that show, and I will always rewatch it. It's almost every year now at this point.
I think I remember you telling me this. Like I've never fully watched it. I've seen like a good few episodes when it just kind of appeared on TV, and I remember every single time I really, really enjoyed it because it's just really fun to watch.
It's really good. I love the combination of drama and comedy, where the comedy is really funny, and the drama, it can make me cry.
No, for sure. Like it's got some like quite. I don't know, I wouldn't say powerful, but like some scenes which you go like, wow, that's much more deep than I thought it was going to be. Like, it's been a while since I last watched an episode, but like I remember like one I think where like the more senior doctor says like some kind words to like the main character, and it's just like, and obviously they kind of have like a love-hate relationship. You always want to say, but when he says like the kind words, like they're kind of like, I'm proud of you, you did a good job, stuff kind of like that. It's kind of like, oh, that's nice. Like it's like
exactly.
There's no jokes to it. It's just quite like a nice scene.
And I love it when it does that. It's a moment of showing that not everything has to be serious, but not everything has to be funny either. And it's really good. There's there's 2 episodes that I'll always remember. Since you haven't probably seen them, I won't go too deep, but there's this episode with Brendan Fraser, and when it's people refer to it as the episode with Brendan Fraser because there's a couple, and it just at the end when you realize what's been going on this whole time, it'll just break your heart, and it's so beautiful. It's just the moment you realize what's going on, it's just a realization that like, wow, why do this to me? Why do you hate me? And it's beautiful.
I think I'm gonna have to watch Scrubs.
It's definitely worth it, and already in the first season you'll have plenty of moments that you just sit there and go, okay. Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, like, have you ever seen Fresh Prince of Bel Air?
I used to watch it, but I don't know much of it anymore.
Well, I used to like watch it not too long ago. Again, kind of when it was on TV, but like I would always watch it just because it's like, I think it's kind of got a similar thing to it as Scrubs. Like it does comedy really well, but then it has some like dramatic scenes that are done really well as well. Like there's always one episode which I think most people know, and it's like about Will Smith character's dad in the show, and it's like a whole thing about his dad leaving him, coming back, and then leaving him again, and then the end just kind of ends with Will Smith's character and Uncle Phil's character, who I can't remember the actor's name. That's really good, annoying me. They're kind of just like hugging at the end. The camera just kind of zooms out on them hugging. Like there's no words. It's just kind of that, and it's like it's just beautiful. Really, it's just really well done.
I love it when shows do that, when they surprise you with moments like that. Yeah, definitely.
Well, that one had like a live studio audience, and like I think there's a bit in it where you can hear someone in the audience like cry, just like let out like a little whimper at what's happening. It's just like, yeah, it's a good scene.
It's real emotion. I love that. I love hearing that. That's great. Do you want to talk about your favorite movie?
Yeah, I think we should. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go ahead. I'm curious. I've seen your top 4, and I'm curious which one it is.
Right. So I've been debating on this one a little while because I haven't had too much time. I was thinking, if someone ever asked me what my favorite film is, there's probably one I'm forgetting, but the one that I would always go to in my head is Logan. And I think I did tell you this like a while ago, it's my favourite film. And again, like I said, there probably is a film that's in the back of my mind, and I just can't remember it, which actually is, but if someone said to me on the street, what's your favourite film, I would say Logan.
It's just a reflex at this point.
Yeah, it's like, naturally I'll go with Logan. I mean, any of my top 4 could class as my favourite. Logan is definitely my number 1, just because it's a superhero film with one of my favourite characters in, and a lot of my favourite actors in. And it's done so beautifully. Like, I remember, like, I don't really cry at films or anything, but I remember, like, when I finished watching it the first time in the cinema with my friends, like, I just felt quite emotional after it. And, like, one of my friends was crying, and other people in the cinema were crying, and it was just, like, it was just powerful. Like, there was so many scenes in the film where the one that always sticks out to me is when Professor X... Have you seen it?
I've seen it. I've seen it, like, twice, I think.
Cool, I've seen it a few times. There's a scene where Professor X dies, and it's by the fake Logan who kills him. And I remember when real Logan comes, so he keeps saying to him, "It wasn't me," and you can hear his like voice breaking as he says it, because he wants like his closest friend probably to know, like, I did kill you, that wasn't me. Even though I'm pretty sure Professor X would have known that wasn't him. It's just like, wow. And obviously, what's happening to Professor X the whole film with him. His powers being unstable and extremely dangerous, and like when it happened in a casino, and he just looks you just feel so sorry for his character, because he just kind of feels like a granddad in that scene, like, because he can't do anything to help, and he's just caused a lot of harm, and it's just like, it's just hard to watch. I mean, I can watch it. If someone said to me during a watch, I'd be like, absolutely, no matter what. There's just so much about it which I love, and I think like the action sides of it done very, very well. Like, there's just so many things in it which are just like, when you see them happen, it's just so good. Like the violence, and I enjoy films that I can do tasteful violence. Like, it's not over the top. It's just done really well, and it's really quite brutal. But then on top of that, they've just got the dramatic story going the whole time, and it's just done really well. I mean, the way they left it off, they could have done more, I suppose. Obviously not with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but they could have done something with his daughter in the film, or the other characters. Like, there was room for them to do more, but I'm kind of glad they just kind of said, "Yep, we're done. Nothing else. There's no Logan 2 yet."
No, I mean, they could do something with the girl's character for sure. They could make a whole thing about it. She could join the MCU if they wanted her to.
Well, they absolutely could.
It's great how it feels like a one-off thing. Or, well, not necessarily a one-off. It's like the end of his own franchise, basically, right? And
I was going to say, I do think he will show up in a Deadpool film at some point.
You think?
I really do, because I think Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are very close friends. So I just feel like there'll be, even if it's like a split second...
Probably as a joke, yeah. I could see that
I think it'll be a joke. It won't be like a whole movie about it, because I think... Is it Deadpool 2? When he opens the door and all the X-Men are there for like a second? That scene is so good. Like, it's so funny.
And in the post-credits where he kills Wade from the first X-Men film?
Yeah. He also, when he's... Yeah, he kills him in X-Men Origins Wolverine, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He kills, like, that Deadpool, but I think he also goes into Logan at some point, or he has a reference to Logan on it with him, because I think he has like Wolverine's grave, like as a little miniature with him at some point.
Oh, it could be. I don't remember.
I'm not sure if it's in the film or like just like a promo picture they did for the film, but in the promo pictures they mention Logan a lot.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I think they're probably just trying to like tease people and prod them, but I do think next Deadpool there's a very, very slight chance I think he's gonna mention Wolverine if anything else, but I think we will probably get a slight, hey, Hugh Jackman's in the film, but it's, or like they could have Hugh Jackman in the film, which I think would be really funny.
That would be really funny. They're definitely gonna do something with Hugh Jackman. I could see that happen for sure.
Absolutely. But I'm sorry.
No, I'm kind of curious about Deadpool 3 overall. Like, it's not a great franchise or anything. It's just really fun because it doesn't take it so seriously, and that makes it so good.
And I think like the other thing with that as well, I think Ryan Reynolds is sort of like passionate about the role. Like you can tell when he's doing it, he's really having fun with what he's doing, I think. Mm-hmm. So that just makes the whole film better in itself, because it's like, you'd rather watch someone who seems like they're enjoying the film rather than someone who's not. Like, I'm sure there was a film we were talking about not too long ago. Was it it was Love and Thunder,
right?
The new Thor film. How most of the people who were on that said they really enjoyed being on set and filming scenes for it because it was so fun.
Yeah,
and I think that kind of thing is the same as like Deadpool's franchise, where you can tell. At least Ryan Reynolds, anyway, is having fun with what he's doing throughout the film. So you kind of go, yeah, I want to watch more of this. It might not be the best film, like you said, but it's still like very fun film to watch.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I love it when you can tell that an actor has had a good time playing a character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why I found it interesting with Love and Thunder too that Natalie Portman decided to come back because as far as I know, and obviously, what do I know? I know Twitter, but. That I heard that she didn't like working with Marvel, hence why she wasn't really in Endgame, I believe. But I mean, working with Taika Waititi is a whole new thing, and you gotta take that opportunity.
For sure. I think there was a thing about her, like, I think she just wasn't like given what she was told in Thor 2, at least. I think she was meant to have more scenes, but then she wasn't given them, and I think I remember hearing there were some issues with like the filming of it, and it wasn't her fault, it was more on the production side. I could be wrong, but I do remember seeing some stuff like that, like you said. But like you said, for Love and Thunder, the script and Taika just seems sort of like fun. Like, you kind of feel like you should just be part of it if you can.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like a lot of fun to work with Taika. Definitely. I can't imagine.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, some of the films he's made, like, one that comes to my mind is, Jojo Rabbit.
Yes.
Just an insane film, and it's so good. Like, I can't believe how good it was.
It's super funny, and just seeing that one shot of the shoes is gonna make me cry. Oh,
yeah,
man. I want to watch that one too. For the second time. Yeah,
I definitely need to rewatch it at some point. It's just like, you just don't know at any point where the film is going to go, really, because it's just like, it's so all over the place.
It's ridiculous.
It's really good. It's definitely a very, very good film.
Yeah. I've yet to see a film of Taika Waititi that I do not like. Love and Thunder, I talked about this with my sister. Love and Thunder is an okay film. It was entertaining, definitely. It's not the best Marvel film. It's not even the best Thor film, but I had a great time, and especially Christian Bale blew me away. He was so good.
Yeah, Christian Bale in the film was insanely good, and his character was also insanely good. Well, evil, but very good.
Yeah. Definitely.
But I definitely agree with you. Like, it's definitely not the best Marvel film, definitely not the best Thor film. I still think that's Ragnarok for me, probably, because it's just
Ragnarok. Yeah.
You can't really beat Ragnarok. That was a great Thor film, but like you said, Love and Thunder. I think some people's issues with it were like, maybe they've thought it was going to be more dramatic or have more to it, because obviously Gore, the villain, and it has such like a good storyline in the comics,
right?
But then it was too like. I think some people said it was too silly for them, but I think that's kind of what I was expecting going in, so I was completely fine with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that definitely, was great. I enjoyed that film, and I know that Chris Hemsworth is excited about playing Thor some more, but I'm here like, maybe the old Avengers all gotta go.
I mean, they did say at the end, didn't it? It was like a Thor will return.
Yeah, true. So maybe.
I mean, he might have another film. I'm hoping more so maybe he'll just be on like the sidelines in other films. Like he'll make appearances in like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, for example, or whatever comes after that.
Right.
I do think maybe his like storyline is somewhat done. Maybe. I mean, the thing is that he has stories where he could tie in quite well. Like obviously there's Loki. Like I feel like Thor somewhat needs to be in that at some point just to get their interaction again and just have a moment with them.
Could be, yeah.
But then there's also the post credits with Jane when she's in Valhalla. I think it's Valhalla anyway.
Right, but I mean that just means it's over, right, for her?
Yeah, but I mean, they can do what they want, I suppose. Like maybe
True,
there's a way
it's
to go to
Marvel.
Valhalla.
What am I saying?
Yeah, they can do what they want. Maybe they'll have a whole movie about Thor trying to get to Valhalla at some point.
He's just gonna jump off a cliff.
Has to be in battle. He has to die in battle.
Oh right. Crap, I
There's
forgot
the
about
whole,
that.
yeah, there's the whole thing where like his friend, I think Sif, nearly dies, and she's like, just kill me, just finish it, send me to Valhalla, and he's like, you won't go. It's not in battle, and she's like, oh no.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was really funny.
That's what I mean. It had like very good funny moments that weren't like kind of like cheesy funny. They were just kind of like, yeah, this is funny because it's funny.
Definitely. And I loved crap. What's his name? The character that Taika Waititi plays, the Rock Man. Korg. There you go. He was great. I love his story always. He's so funny.
No, it was really good. I mean, there was some things in the film which I didn't pick out on. One of my friends mentioned it. First thing was, his like god when they go to that like Colosseum place and they have all the different gods. Korg's god is sitting on a chair of scissors because Rock eats scissors.
Oh my god!
That's what I mean. I never realized that when I watched it, and I was just like, and it also looks like the chair from Game of Thrones, the throne in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Because obviously, and at the very end, Korg has a boyfriend called Dwayne.
Yeah, that was so fun. I liked it
too, but I never, when it was a rock person and their name is Dwayne, I knew in my head there was a joke there.
Yeah.
I could not figure it out for the life of me. I could not put the two and two together. And then my friend was like, it's Dwayne the Rock. He's the Rock. I was like, oh, yeah.
It's so good. Like these subtle jokes where you'll hear about them randomly that you're like, holy crap, that's so smart, so clever.
Exactly. It's like a thing you wouldn't... I'd say the Rock one, most people probably figured out. I was just a bit dumb on that one, but I think like the Rock beats scissors joke is thing. It's for the people who kind of like noticed it, but it doesn't matter if you don't notice it.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone mentioned to me the other day about the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit where Peter like loses his powers in it, and he jumps off the building, doesn't he, to like try and swing, and then he hurts his back and the hole in my back.
And then he goes my back, and then No Way Home.
Yeah, exactly. There's that. And in the film where he like loses his powers, he says like he needs to find his focus at some point. And when he jumps off, I didn't realize this. Someone told me this. He jumps off the building and he hits his back on a car, and the camera zooms out, and it's a forward focus. And it's just like he found his focus by hitting a forward focus, and we were just.
Oh, what?
I know, it blew my mind. He was telling me about Sam Raimi, and I was like, he said Sam Raimi makes like a lot of these kind of jokes in his films. I was like, does he? And he was like, yeah, have you not seen this one, Spider-Man? I was like, oh, that's so good.
That's great. Yeah, Sam Raimi has an interesting way of telling jokes then. He uses cinematography to do that.
It's like something you wouldn't pick up on unless you really just kind of, like, you have to be very quick with the moment you go forward focus, fine.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, that's great. I love that. I cannot remember. I watched the first Spider-Man with Toby Maguire like a few months ago, and it just felt so weird because obviously CGI was still like crap for the most part. But it was interesting to see how Sam Raimi did certain things. And
I mean, like, rewatching it now, it probably feels a bit dated almost. Not dated, but like...
Some parts, sure. Yeah, definitely. There were parts with the Green Goblin where they were fighting, and it just looked so bad, but at the same time, like, you almost feel like you shouldn't care, because it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is cool, you know?
It's like a nostalgia trip as well when you watch it, because I watched it a lot when I was younger, so watching it again now, I probably wouldn't hate it. I'd be like, yeah, this is fine. I absolutely love it.
I have that with Spider-Man 2. I watched that a lot. I love that one.
Spider-Man 2 is so good.
It's really good, definitely. See how we went on a big tangent here from
Well, that's
Logan.
what we said. It's like it's a rabbit hole. We started at Logan. We ended up at Spider-Man. Somewhat full circle.
I mean, almost. We're almost there.
Yeah. But I think the important question now is, what is your favourite film?
Okay, so there's this thing with me that I've had a favorite film ever since I was a child, and that was Treasure Planet. And then I was a bit older and I watched Harry Potter, the final film, and that has been my favorite film since. So it's Treasure Planet and Harry Potter are kind of fighting for the first spot, but Harry Potter will always win. So Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is my favorite film.
Great choice.
That's the only one of the Harry Potter films that I watched in the cinema, and it was the greatest experience ever. It was 2011, so, you know, emotion-wise, what was I gonna do? I wasn't gonna cry there, but now as a full-on adult, seeing those final scenes, always goosebumps everywhere, you know? And I'm such a huge fan of the Harry Potter franchise. Who created the franchise does not matter. She does not exist.
Yep.
The franchise itself, the films, while I understand that some people just go, "No, they're not that great," I'll always think that those films are the best films ever, and I watch them every year. Just the visual effects and the pure emotion from the characters, and the fact that it's the end of such a huge thing is just epic to me, and that's why it will always be my favorite film.
I think that's a great favorite film to have. I mean, like you said, for the effects, I think whenever I see magic in like shows or games, and especially when it looks good, I'm always hyped by it.
Yeah,
exactly. The scene when they put the shield around Hogwarts,
man, so
that
good.
Scene to me was hype. Like that looks so
exactly
insane.
Yeah, it's why I wanted to do film stuff in the first place. It's why I wanted to learn visual effects, and I still haven't learned that much, unfortunately, because apparently doing Harry Potter visual effects is expensive. Very expensive. And
just learn Unreal, you'll be fine.
Yeah, of course, you know, I'll just learn Unreal. On one hand, I probably should. Unreal Engine is great, but every time I open it, I get an anxiety attack, basically, because it's so big, it's so scary. I don't know what to do with it.
But Unreal 5's a little bit nicer.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's there's less going on at once, and you can hide most of the windows if you want to, so you could just have a look, just have one thing on at a time.
I should probably give it another shot. It's just that because I've gotten so comfortable with Unity that I feel almost like it's wasting my time when I'm trying to learn something new. So learning Godot or Unreal is almost like what am I doing? I should just be making this in Unity and I'll have it done in 2 minutes, you know?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fair enough way to go about it, but I suppose Unity can do more or less all the same things Unreal kind of just might, especially for visual effects. Like Unreal's visual effects is a lot simpler to use, I find, than Unity's. And
it's also more focused on the film aspects. They have a whole film thing, and I recently wanted to try something in Unreal for visual effects, and I just couldn't figure it out, but that's okay. But I just know that it's pretty easy to get started with it, and I thought, hey, can I do this in Unity? And the answer is maybe, but who knows? It's really hard to figure out. I tried something to make something look really nice, and in Unreal, that's 2 clicks and you have something look really nice. And in Unity, it's download this package, wait 30 minutes, try to mess around with light probes and reflection or whatever they're called, and just hope for the best. So,
Yeah, it's It is pretty much how you just described it. For me, Unreal's just kind of, if I want to make something 3D and I care about how it looks, like if I want it to have like really top-notch graphics, I will do that in Unreal no matter what. If I want it to be simpler graphics, Unity's fine.
Yeah, exactly. There's really beautiful games made with Unity. I don't know if you're familiar with Firewatch. I think we talked about this.
We did talk about Firewatch. I know of it. I haven't played it myself, but it does look beautiful.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously stylized, so it's different from, let's say, like, oh gosh, The Witcher. The Witcher is, I think, an Unreal Engine game, I believe. Oh boy, I better not be wrong.
I think it might be a custom engine.
No, I think it's Unreal Engine. Hold up, we can look this up.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3 engine. I think it's Unreal Engine 4. You know what? I take it completely back. It's the Red Engine.
Ah. I thought you were going to say it was Unity then. I don't think it was Unity.
Sorry?
I thought you were going to say it was Unity that...
that would have been crazy.
That would have been insane.
Like, if you can make that with Unity, wow.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, Unreal Engine has a lot of very pretty games that are more realistic, whereas Unity is great at making stylized games.
Yeah, I think that's a... You can do either in each engine, of course, but I'd say Unreal, from the get-go, from just like starting up, knowing nothing, is more suited towards a more realistic art style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if I were to want to learn visual effects for magic and stuff, I'd probably go to Unreal Engine.
Yeah. I will say there is a learning curve with Unreal's visual effects. Like, it's got its Niagara particle system, and they're very intense when you first look at them, but once you kind of do like a tutorial or two and get the grasp of how to do the thing you kind of want, it's like a curve. It kind of starts off with, like, if this is like... should we say, I don't know how to describe it. Okay, yeah, difficulty there, and yeah, sure. It goes like this, and then it just squares off. I don't know the graph. I can't think of what would be on the bottom.
Like time spent, maybe?
Yeah, time spent. Yeah, time on the bottom, difficulty on the other one. You start off, and it's insanely difficult, and the more time you spend, it doesn't get easier. Well, it probably does a bit, but it's a very slow decline.
Right. It's almost like it almost never goes off the insanely difficult part, and it just very slowly goes down.
When you've done enough time, you will get the nice drop.
Right, eventually.
Yeah. I couldn't think of it.
It just never makes the graph. It's so far out of reach, it never sees the graph.
And there probably will be people who disagree with that and say it's insanely easy, and I say I disagree with you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, especially if you're already familiar with a workflow. For instance, Unity. I feel like it's a lot harder to learn a new engine when you've spent years learning another one. Like, I did Game Maker when I was 15, I think, and at the same time I also tried learning Unity, and the more I started doing things in my spare time with Unity, the less I spent time at school using Game Maker.
Yeah.
And eventually I don't remember how to use Game Maker, let alone Game Maker 2. I want to learn, but again, I know how to use Unity. So...
Well, I know what you mean with that, for sure. It's like, I used Game Maker when I first started. I think I made one very quick platformer in it. Someone gave me Game Maker now, I could not work it.
Yeah. Man.
I did just notice the tangent went on. You didn't really get to dive into Harry Potter more, which I was quite interested to know. Like, why is that one specifically your favourite Harry Potter, or is it just because it's the end of the story?
Well, I think for a while, when I was younger, I think it was the Chamber of Secrets that always just felt so cool because of the whole sword thing. Wow, it's about magic, which is crazy, and the big snake. But the older I got, the more I started appreciating story and character acting, visual effects, all of that beautiful stuff. And having read the books, of course, it felt perfect to me. There's so much missing, obviously, because how are you going to make 600 pages or whatever it is into a 2-hour movie? But all those things combined, I just love it, how it ends everything for everyone. And there's still so many questions afterwards. And I know that, for example, at when Harry has died, which is a crazy moment, like watching your hero die is just insane. But when he's in Hagrid's arms and Voldemort is speaking to the entire school, like Harry Potter is dead, and that's so cool. And how Neville speaks up after that, that's just awesome. But what was cut from the film was the moment that Harry, obviously he jumps out of Hagrid's arms to reveal, hey, what's up, man, I'm not dead. But Draco then throws his wand towards Harry, and that was cut from the film. And that's so sad, but I love the idea that he did that, because it's a moment for us to kind of feel like, okay, he is on the good side. He does know what's good and what's bad. And that's such a beautiful moment to end his character's arc, because he was always a meanie, and in the sixth one, while he really didn't want to do any of the bad stuff that he had to do, he had to get the Death Eaters into Hogwarts. He had to kill Dumbledore, while he obviously didn't. But it's just a great way to end his character arc, and I love that.
For sure. Like, he does something like he actually wants to do.
Yeah. And then obviously the final fight with between Harry and Voldemort. And I don't know if this is the Mandela effect. Are you familiar with the Mandela effect?
I know of it, but I don't really know.
Where a bunch of people remember a certain thing, but it never actually existed.
Yes,
okay.
I do know that.
So I have this thing where I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but when I believe that when I watched the final film in theaters, there was this moment where Voldemort either walks up to Harry or he holds him. He's like locked between those ropes or whatever they're called, and he asks, why did you live? And Harry replies with, because I have something to live for, and then they fall off the tower. And I think that was cut from the eventual version, but that was such a cool moment to me. I'll never forget.
See, I know this. I think I know the scene you're talking about, and I remember watching it. From what I remember of the scene, I feel like they obviously like kind of hug each other in a way. It's not a hug, obviously, but it looks like a hug.
Yeah.
I always remember Harry saying to Voldemort, like, "Let's finish this the way we started it."
Yeah.
He says, like, let's finish it the way we started this time, and he says, like, together, and then they fall. So maybe they changed it? Because
I don't know. I could be remembering it wrong. As I said, maybe it's the Mandela effect. But I thought that was such a cool thing. And people hate how they combined their faces like it's some kind of filter, something, But I love the idea of that they're still one, even when they're not anymore. Because the whole idea with the Horcrux is over at that point, right? So
yeah.
I love that. And then that final scene where they have that battle when the lights hit each other, as they have done since the fourth film, which was so cool. One of the greatest scenes ever, the graveyard scene. But that final fight, and that he just what's it called? Where he just his body
like
just
disintegrates.
Thank you. So I love that. That's, to me, when I see those things, I cannot look away from my screen at that time. Just so into it.
I had a quick Google then about the scene you mentioned, and it actually was cut, apparently.
It was? I'm not crazy? Oh!
No, so apparently, I can't see all the details on it, but it says, like, apparently David Yates, I think, directed it, said Voldemort would have just killed Harry rather than ask him, like, why did you live? He wouldn't have bothered with the conversation, because Voldemort's character, he says, is more someone who doesn't care, and he'd rather just kill.
Interesting. I mean, I get it. At the same time, I think it would have been great to keep it in.
I think it's I mean, I didn't know, so I think it's a very cool. It's a very cool like moment,
right?
But I think from what I just read there, I think in Deathly Hallows Part 2, why did you live, in quotes? And all I can see is someone say, I'm really glad it was cut from the film, the bit where Voldemort says that. So,
I mean,
it might
that's
not be
fair.
true, but from what I can see, there's only like one page on Google on it, so there's no way of knowing this information.
Right,
unless
no,
you can
of
time
course.
travel.
But, I mean,
find out.
I could see why it was cut then. That makes sense. It's just, to me, it was a very cool moment, definitely.
No,
especially because,
cool
you know, it was talked about in previous films where in the fifth, I think, something similar when it's all over and they go back home, I think they say something similar. So that felt great. Yeah, that's cool.
So why did the Deathly Hallows beat out Treasure Island? Is it Treasure Island? Treasure Planet.
Oh, because of my love for Harry Potter, I think. Because Treasure Planet is great. Have you seen Treasure Planet?
I think I've seen it once when I was very young, so I don't really remember what happened.
I mean, it's your typical Disney movie, right? But it's all in a fictional universe, I think. And it's so much fun. It's ridiculous. It's wholesome. And the music, obviously, Disney is known for having great songs, right? But there's this one song, and I think that's one of the main reasons why I love it so much. It's called I'm Still Here, and it's played during like a compilation of Jim and Silver just doing things on the boat together and just getting this father-son relationship almost. And I love that. The song makes that whole moment so good, and I find myself listening to that song so many times a year. You know, it's a brilliant song, and that makes, for me, it makes the movie so much better. Even well, it's an enjoyable movie clearly, but it's just it gives me a reason to watch it almost.
No, I definitely think I should watch it again. I either watch it again or watch it at some point. I have memories of it being on. I just don't ever remember fully watching it.
Right.
But it definitely sounds good. It sounds like a different type of Disney film, like Disney movie. It's still the same kind of formula in it, but different.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I'm so sad that they canceled Treasure Planet 2, because there was going to be a second one, but I think there was the whole thing of combining 2D and 3D was a little rough at the time. Like, I think the audience wasn't quite ready for it, and there was a whole nother thing. I think maybe it got overshadowed by a different release or whatever, and that's so sad. I would have loved seeing the sequel, because there was a whole story, and I wanted to see Jim and Silver get reunited. That would have been so cool. I'll just have to imagine it.
Make your own story. You're a writer. Write your own Treasure Planet.
I think I will get sued, but
you just don't release it. You just tell people.
It's fan fiction at that point. So I mean,
exactly.
I wonder if there's any good fan fiction of Treasure Planet out there. Have you ever read fan fiction?
I feel like I've read some fan fiction things, and I've read some that I dislike, because it's like when people try and over romanticize something which shouldn't be romanticized, and it really bothers me, because it's just like, you don't need to force this in.
Exactly.
But I've never like gone out of my way to properly look into fan fiction or something, I guess. I think maybe if it was like a Treasure Planet scenario where like I wanted more and I knew there was never going to be more, and like I really couldn't do without more, I probably would look into some. But
yeah.
Do you do much fan fiction or read much of it?
Well, for a long time, fan fiction had this really bad reputation, obviously, and it still does. But in my head, that reputation never got fixed in a way. And
I know what you mean.
There was this friend of mine back in high school who was also a huge fan of Harry Potter, and he was like, okay, I know that fanfictions have a really bad reputation, and I know that especially Harry Potter ones, because honestly, I do not care about Harry and Draco or Harry and Hermione. I just want the story to continue or whatever, right? So he was like, you should check out this one. And I don't remember what it was about, but I just know that it was actually really good and that it sort of gave me hope for fanfiction. And trust me, after that, I have never read a single fanfiction ever again. Because
so the hope didn't last long.
No, I just didn't care. Wattpad scares me, and that's where the most fanfiction is, I guess.
What was that, sorry?
Wattpad is the website where a lot of fanfiction is, and that website scares me. So, no.
I've heard some things about fanfiction that I don't really like the things I've heard about the fanfiction, so I kind of want to avoid it. There's nothing wrong with doing fanfiction. If you do fanfiction, do it. Be creative.
Right. No, it's a great way of learning to write. Yeah. No, I think I'm good on fanfiction. I might maybe try and find something for Treasure Planet, but I could also just be happy with what I did get.
Would you ever consider doing your own fanfiction?
Probably not. I feel like while I can experience a story in a certain way, I could never get to know the characters the way the creators did. It would be my interpretation, which is fine, you know, but at the same time I don't think I would want that. Like with for example, Stranger Things, there's such a huge world where you can, you know, go anywhere with certain characters, but I couldn't even, you know, dare to think about what those characters will be doing, because I don't want to think about those things. I want the creators to make that for me so that I can enjoy it to its max, you know?
No, I know what you mean. It's rather like, it's almost in a sense like, why would you want to do the creation of the world when it's still being created, and the writers could do the thing you're about to do, but they could do it more with a deeper connection to the characters because they are their characters, I suppose. Yeah,
exactly. I think that's why I prefer writing my own stuff. And for the stuff that I've written, a lot is not really knowing not really about knowing the character, but knowing the situation they're in and having a vague idea of how they'd react. But with that trilogy that I'm working on, I feel like I'm spending so much more time on actually getting to know these characters, even though I've known them since I was it 11 or something. So like, I've grown with them and they've grown with me, but at this point I'm still like, I don't really know if I know what you're like. And it's much more fun than writing someone else's characters, because I can get to know them my own way. I can just sit and go, what kind of chips would this character like? You know? Something stupid like that.
No, I think that makes complete sense. It's more so, I guess, like, one thing when you do your own characters as opposed to doing already existing characters is you don't have to like really go against the lore of the world that's already there, because it's your lore. So if you think, I really wish this character had this specific thing, and it doesn't really fit in with the world, you realistically could shift the world around your character just so you could have them be how you want. I mean, that's quite an interesting take on it, for sure. I also found it funny then how you said you're working on a trilogy, which makes it sound like you're working on all 3 books at once at the same time, writing them all. And I love that idea that you're doing that.
I mean, I've got this Trello board right now. I've never tried using a Trello board for writing, but I realized as I was planning the story that I wanted to make sure that I knew the entire story before starting to write the first book. And
I think that makes sense.
The Trello is massive, and I love using Trello for it. It's a great way of having a bunch of events ordered, and I can reorder them easily, and I can also just go, you know what, I think I'd rather have this in book 3 rather than book 2, and it's a great way to have an overview of what I want to happen. And now that I haven't touched it for a couple of weeks because of other stuff, I know that when I go back into it, I can just look at it and think that is never gonna happen. I'll just take it out. So
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I suppose like if you make an event, you could have the event there and go, okay, which book would this more fit in? You can just rearrange it on your Trello as and when, which I suppose is really quite good, and it's useful. Trello is such a useful tool, so I didn't even think about using it for writing really, and that's really good.
Yeah, I don't know how I came up with the idea anyway. It's just happened.
It's just pure genius that.
Sometimes I surprise myself.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and I know that when I started figuring out what I wanted to do with the story, the main villain, I was like, okay, so after book 1, I know that he's still around. What do I do with him? You know, and I started thinking more and more, and at one point I just went, okay, I think I figured it out. Guess there will be another book.
I like that. That's quite fun. I like how, it's like it's similar to game design in a way, like the process of making things and going, actually, we could do it like this, which means we can make this happen instead, which is even more fun rather than kind of shelving a character.
Yeah, right. That's interesting how that ties in with each other.
I say a lot of creative industries like writing and game development, for example, do a lot of similarities between them where they kind of just tie in. I mean, ignoring the fact there is a narrative role in games where you are a writer for stories and such, just like the process behind creating a book and creating a game, I think from the sounds of it have a lot of similarities between them, like especially when you're using Trello and saying, okay, if you had a game for story, you split it up into acts. You had like the starting story. I'd say in my head that seems similar to how you'd go about creating a book, really.
I mean, I guess so. There's obviously, whereas with writing a book, there's shorter steps. I would not say shorter steps. There's fewer steps. Yeah. Whereas with game development, there's so many different aspects, right? And with writing, it's just come up with the idea, plan it, write it, and try to release it somehow.
Yeah.
But the actual planning of the story, I could see that definitely. Yeah. Are you working on any video games by yourself now? Or are you still working on the Wizard game?
Wizard game is still the game. I haven't touched it for a little while, just because work is a thing now. So I'm kind of balancing the act of coming home. It's not like the idea like I'm not inspired. I haven't like lost the passion to do it. I still want to. It's just honestly, I come home like 5:30, and I come home, shower, eat, and then I'm just tired and ready for bed. So it's more so just a thing of I need to sort out my schedule and wait and feel less tired in the evening, so I can do a little bit or have some more time in the morning. So currently I'm not working on anything else like myself, just the Wizard game. And that's fine. That's all I want to work on right now. But what about you? You said you've got a video out soon.
Right. Well, first of all, I understand the whole thing with finding a kind of a schedule that works for you. And I hope you do find it. I mean, I'm sure it'll take some time to get used to the whole new work thing, and then. I mean,
the joys of work. I mean, I complain about working on a laptop a lot because the laptop is slowly dying. But the joys of it is realistically, on the weekend, if I wanted to, I could always take it to a cafe and just do some work there, which I'm considering doing tomorrow now, in fact.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so there's time to do it. I just need to give myself the time to do it as well, rather than going, I'm just going to go to bed or just not do it today. I just need to tell myself, no, I want to do this, you should do it.
Right, yeah, and that's good that motivation is there. That's nice.
Yeah.
What's the next step for the Wizard game?
So the next step is to add multiplayer into it.
Ooh, like online multiplayer.
Yeah,
oh, right, so I think you talked about this. Yeah.
It's not going to be like matchmaking, because it doesn't really fit into that. It's more you play with friends, and rather than playing local multiplayer, it is better if you can play online with friends.
Right.
So I need to fix a few bugs, which my friends pointed out on the playtest. I said friends a lot there. I need to fix a few bugs which they told me about when we did the playtest, and then once that's done, I'm going to go ham on creating like online co-op and hopefully getting that to work.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see that happen. I think this game would be really fun to play.
I think it could be very fun too. I need to also make sure I'm allowed to do it, because obviously when you have a job in games, like, you have to make sure if you do any games in your personal time, it doesn't really like infringe upon what you're doing for a company. Like, if you were to work for a company and you learn a specific tool that they use, and you were like, oh, they do this whole system and it's specific to them, and you go, I'm going to use it in my own game, that's a no-no. You can't.
No, exactly. They won't appreciate that.
Exactly. So the thing is, I'm just kind of going through now with managers saying, I'm making this, I do have plans to release it on Steam in the distant future. Not sure how long it would be, but I do have plans. Can I do that? Basically, yes. But they just need to like give me the go ahead.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. It's
But
great that you have that relationship with the company, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the company, Matt, is very like friendly and like close, really. Like, everyone's just super relaxed and chill, which is a very nice environment to be working in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good like first job, really, which is weird to say.
I love that. That's great. I'm glad you found that company then. Yeah.
Well, what about your video then? Because I'm excited for that, because you seem to have hyped up a bit.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of hyping it up because I think as I'm editing it, I still find certain jokes funny, even though I've seen them a couple of hundred times. I still find them really funny, and because this podcast will be out way after that video is out, I can kind of talk about it. But basically, I made there's this trend going around where you make a game, but instead of like, have you seen the balloons video? I made balloons, but you're the balloon.
Yes.
And that's a brilliant idea. And I just thought, how can I use this trend? I normally don't think like that, and I'm glad that I did with this one, because the idea is so much fun. It's I made Minecraft, but you are the block.
Oh God.
Exactly.
I like that. And I don't know how it works, but I like it.
It's crazy, and the game itself is very static, and I mean it's almost bound to happen when you're the block. Like, what are you gonna do? You can't have a moving world really, because you're just one block and there's one Steve and that's it, right? But there's a lot of fun jokes, and the game is really weird and broken. But
is it like Steve is trying to mine you or something, and you're like,
Steve wants diamonds, and you have to, using an input field, you have to change yourself into certain blocks so that he can get the items, so that he can finally mine those diamonds.
Okay, that sounds quite cool.
And it's crazy.
It sounded like I thought you go for like a weird type of prop hunt there, where like Steve's trying to find you and you're a block in the world, and you just got to like look around, and if he mines you, you die, kind of thing. And it's just, I don't really know where that was going to go. I was like, that's really
I mean, that's almost prop hunt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Those were great times when Minecraft prop hunt was a popular thing. Have you ever played that?
I played like on Gary's mod, you mean?
No, actual Minecraft. There's this
I think
it's called Block Hunt, maybe.
Oh yeah, I've done Block Hunt before.
Yeah,
yes,
those were great times. But yeah, I think that the video, if I nail the edit, and I hope that I do, we still have a lot to do, I think it could turn out really good. And if that's true, then maybe it'll do great too.
That's what we hope.
Yeah. Imagine if it does well.
How would you feel? Would you feel good if it does well? Because like, you put the hours, you put the time into it.
I mean, yeah.
Or would you more laugh at the idea that it does well because you think it's like a funny video?
I think at this point, I'm with every video, I'm hoping that it'll do really well. Because of I nowadays spend more time on ideas and actually getting a good edit. But if it then doesn't, then I'll be, like, crap, what can I do better? But it's with this one, it would definitely, I feel like I'm hyping it up so much that I can only disappoint myself at this point. So yeah, I'm hyping it up to myself more than to other people. So
you just need to quote No Way Home, you need to expect disappointment.
Yes.
You're never disappointed. Or whatever the quote actually is.
If you expect disappointment, you can never get disappointed. Something like that.
Something like that.
I mean,
it's a damning quote. It hurts. But
yeah. Gotta stay positive though. Gotta take the risks.
No, for sure. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
I hope you like it.
I'm sure I will. I always do.
Yeah. And I'm still working on a bunch of other things, like When Summer Falls is sort of on the side right now because I'm still figuring out what to do with it. But I want to finish that too. And I've actually maybe got a Steam thing coming out.
Ooh. What type of game is that, if you are willing to share?
It's very casual. It's very... Are you familiar with the game? I think it's called Townscape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one where you just make towns on the water and all the houses are different colors?
Yeah, and there's no actual point to the entire game, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, hey, that's so cool, and I wanted to make a video about the concept of that. Like, hey, is that actually fun? Why do these games exist? What's the point? And then I thought maybe to further continue with that question and to answer what the point is, maybe I should try to make one of those games. And that was last week, and the game is almost done at this point because I got obsessed with it. So
the joys of game dev.
Sorry?
The joys of game dev, that is when you
exactly.
do a little side project and you get so hooked on it, you just spend the entire week working on it.
Yeah, and those are great times. But yeah, it's basically a thing. I think I posted a bit of it on Twitter, where there's a character dancing.
Yes.
And with the use of basic shapes, you can just make your own character that dances. Yes. And it's so much fun. I've had someone play it a couple of versions already, and they loved it.
That's really good.
Yeah, and I was so surprised because I've never had that actually happen that way. So it got me excited to keep working on it. So I figured, hey, you know what? I'm going to release this on Steam, and hopefully people will like it.
No, that's really exciting. I remember you sharing stuff about that on Twitter, and I thought that maybe it was for your new video. I was like, what is this? But I love the looks of it anyway.
I sometimes post weird stuff like that for videos.
That's what I mean. I was like, oops, I've just done it again. I was just kind of like, what is this going to be? Yeah, I'm all for it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm excited to share that with people. I think the video will take a very long time before that's out. I think the game will be out before that. So yeah,
that's cool.
should be very fun. I'll definitely keep you updated on that.
Please do. I'm looking forward to seeing it, as I'm sure everyone who's listening would be too.
Yeah. I hope so. All right. I think that will conclude the first episode then, if you agree.
Yeah, I think so too. It's been just over an hour. I think that's a good length.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've had a lot of fun. We went on a bunch of tangents as we expected, but at the same time, we kind of stayed on topic.
Yeah. I mean, we stuck to films, games, and game dev and TV. So I feel like that's very on topic.
Yeah. We just completely nailed it. Yeah. So, thanks everyone for listening or watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. That's just becoming a second thing now, I automatically say those things.
You have to say it.
If you want more, again, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below. We had one question we figured out beforehand when it comes to films. We have there's a list on IMDb of the 250 best movies that exist.
Yes.
And we wondered, do you want us to talk about movies that we've seen in the week or that month or whatever? Or do you want us to go through that list and for every episode we watch that movie, whether we've seen it already or not, and we just talk about the movie?
Yeah, because the list has some interesting films on it.
Yeah.
I can't remember what number one is. I think it might be...
The Shawshank Redemption.
Is it Shawshank Redemption? Yeah, so number one's like Shawshank Redemption.
And we've got to talk about that.
There's Avengers Endgames on it at some point, I believe.
Oh, can't wait. So
There's
I
a
mean,
whole
I'd be down
variety
to
of
do that. I'd also be down to just talk about whatever movie we last saw. I think for me that could have been Buddha Train, the new film with Brad Pitt.
Yes.
Wasn't a huge fan, but it was funny. So we could talk about those things too. Whatever people want.
I mean, the last film I watched was The Notebook.
Oh, I have yet to see that.
It was actually very good. I more watched it because of Ryan Gosling, because I wanted to see him not be so
depressed.
So quiet. I'm going to say that, but I think quiet's the better term.
Probably. I feel like it's a movie. I've not seen it. I feel like it could break your heart. So
it's yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm excited to watch that. So yeah, let us know what you want to watch.
Yeah. So would you rather us talk about, to summarize it, I suppose, talk about films we've seen recently or on our mind, or would you rather us go through the top 250 of IMDb and we'll make our way down and we'll talk about the films like as a type of book club almost?
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited to hear what people think.
Yeah.
And
thanks everyone.
Yeah, thanks. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.